morning. Thank you very much for joining me. As you can see, I'm filming in my car this morning and I'm looking into the wrong place. I need to look there, not there. I always struggle when I film on the phone because I forget where I'm supposed to be looking. I'm particularly enjoying the irony this morning of this being an organising video, and I've forgotten to bring my notes with me. I bought a big bag of other stuff that I wanted to show in the video and completely forgot my notes for the second half of the video. The first I can do sort of ad hoc, but I do need my notes for the second half. So yeah, the great irony of me talking about how I stay organised, and I massively failed to do so this morning. Let's first address the reason that I'm filming in the car. It's that I have builders in the house again today. They're finishing off bits and pieces in the lounge, and I've already filmed one video which you would have seen on Friday in my bedroom, and I didn't want to do yet another one in the bedroom. Plus there's quite a lot of noise. They're grinding things today. Noise and dust, not enjoying that. So I thought, as I'm coming out anyway, and I had a bit of time on my hands, I would come and sit in Sainsbury's car park. How very glamorous. What is this bit of hair doing? It's driving me nuts. Sit in Sainsbury's car park on my way out to Torquay and film this because it's quiet and I can film in the car and it's a different background. My first video in my new car, this is as well. However, you're only going to get the first half in the car because I can't do the second half without the notes that are sitting at home on the dining room table. So anyway, let's talk organisation. I was requested to do a series on organisation before Christmas, and a couple of people have asked for sort of how I stay organised type videos. I don't think I can stretch it into a series, but I thought I would do this one. I'm going to talk about how I plan, my physical planning and organising tools, what books I use, what diaries, what have you. And then the second half is my sort of a weekly reset, planning for a great week, what I do on a Saturday and Sunday to get ahead for the coming week type of thing. So let's start with the first half. And first of all, I'm going to have an admission. Do you remember that I am not always infallible? Shock horror. As if you thought I was anyway. You may remember I posted on Instagram, and I think I mentioned in a video last year, when I had my office redone, I treated myself to this beautiful new planner, the Hello Day planner. It's just lovely. Look at it. Isn't it nice? And the idea of buying this was that I spent a long time looking at different planner layouts, and I wanted somewhere where I could put everything. So where I could have my daily to-do lists, my diary, my YouTube stuff, all of the things all in one place. And I thought this fitted the bill. It didn't. Unfortunately, after I got as far as I did 2 or 3 months in it, and it just didn't work for me. I couldn't get on with it. I think it was just too bulky. If I wanted the diary, although it was tabbed for the months, it's got all the month tabs down there, it just didn't, like, so you've got your main monthly layout there, and then you go into your daily layout pages, which are great, they're lovely, but the individual daily pages work great for me. But then I had my diary in a different section, which was at the beginning of each week. You get this, so I would use this for my diary, and it just wasn't working on any level. I found it a massive, it just didn't work. I couldn't get to grips with having everything in here, and it wasn't intuitive going to the finding the bit I needed at the time. Mostly I found the diary difficult to use, the diary aspect of appointments and stuff, the daily layout pages with the to-do lists and what have you, but I didn't get on badly with. But it was really sad because this was an expensive treat buy for myself, and I'm just not using it anymore. It just didn't work. So I'm a bit sad about that because it's beautiful, but hey, you can only experiment, can't you? So let me then go on to show you what I actually use to keep myself organised. And it's this lot, which looks like a lot, but it's actually not. I have gone back to what has always worked for me, and I am using an A5 ring-bound diary, that looks like this. It's a week to view, like that. And I use that for all my appointments and sort of reminders, things I need to do, social stuff, just a basic appointments and what I'm doing that week diary. So I can look at any given week and I'll see that, and everything is in there that I need. And I tend to fill it in a bit more at the beginning of the week with sort of which days are going to be work days and little bits like that. So yeah, I've gone back to that diary. I've used a diary like this for years. I've tried online diaries and I can't get on with online diary planning, and I'd kind of like to, because at the moment with Ashley, I know that my brother has a family calendar that the whole family can access and get in and see what's going on different days, and all their appointments are in there, and I'd love to get into that. So if anybody does that successfully, please let me know what app or program or whatever you use for that, because I would love to make a success of that. I have tried it and it just didn't work for us at all, so I don't know if I was doing something wrong. But at the moment the system is that if I put something in the diary, or if Ashley puts something in the diary social wise, we email each other, and then I mean, it works, the system's fine, but I feel like it is probably in the year 2020 time to move on to something a little more online than that. But hey ho. In addition to that, I have this, which I showed in my Etsy haul last year, which is at the end of last year, December, which is basically just a small, almost A5 size, a little bit squarer than A5, and it is just a monthly spread like this, and in here I record my YouTube videos, what I'm doing on YouTube, so I can look back on what dates I publish them, and that is all it is. It's just the squares. Oh, also I've got my eBay listing numbers down at the left hand side here, just so I know how many I'm listing on eBay a week. But yeah, I find that a really useful visual thing. So that is just purely, it's just the monthly spreads across one page in squares, so you can see a month at a time. And then it's got some notes pages at the back, which I haven't actually used. But yeah, that's my YouTube washer. It's always useful to look back to the previous year, what you did on YouTube, to get video ideas and to see what you did, and it's just a useful record to have. Then on a daily basis, my to-do lists I do in this book. It's just very simple. It's a list of tick boxes, things to do today. You can put the date in if you want, and I highlight them off as I do them, as you can see. That's what the book looks like. It came from Home Bargains, but you can get them everywhere, and I just find the simplicity of that absolutely brilliant for on a day-to-day basis. I just highlight what I've done, then I carry over to the next day anything that I haven't done, and yeah, this just works really brilliant for me as a daily to-do list. I don't need anything more complicated than that. And then finally I have this notebook, which is kind of like a book of lists. This is, I set it out almost like a bullet journal, in that it has an index at the beginning and I number the pages and I write down what lists I've got in here. I've got my eBay goals for 2020, I've got YouTube videos for January, gift ideas, if I think of something that would be a good gift for someone's birthday or Christmas, I jot it down in here, things I want to buy, things, I also make lists for YouTube videos, for example, best things I've bought in January, or things I want to mention on YouTube, places that I'd like to visit, all of this sort of thing goes into here. And then the list just look like that. So that is just very much a list book. So those are the 4 books that I use. Unfortunately, I couldn't condense all of that into one book successfully. And I think, I know that I can't do that now, because with the planner, that's not the first planner I've tried and failed to use for everything. So I think I have exhausted the possibilities of successfully using one book for everything. It just doesn't work for me. So that's how I keep myself organised on a week-to-week, day-to-day, month-to-month basis. It looks a bit of a lot, doesn't it? But it's actually not. It works really well for me. It's a system that I've used on and off in between trying to fit it into one book, over a period of years now, and that just really does work well for me. Oh, I should also say the list book that I use, I start my lists anew every year. I have a new one of these. So it's just a plain notebook, just a lined notebook, nothing exciting, ring bound. It came from Wilko's, I think. Yes, Wilko's, £3 in Wilko's. But yeah, it just has that bullet journal vibe in that you can add things and have an index and look things up easily. I find that quite a good way. It works quite well like that for me. Right, that is the first half of the video. The second half is coming up any minute now. I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you're going to see it, so I'm just going to shut up. And just like magic, I'm back for the second half of this video. Back in my bedroom again. Builders. And, oh God, you know, the builders are using some sort of filler, I think, that smells really strong. You know, that really, we've got the doors open, so it's really, really cold to try and get rid of the smell. But I've just been sitting in my office for the last hour and it's just absolutely bitter, so I've just made myself a cup of chai tea to try and warm up a bit and shut myself in here to film the second half of this video. So the second half of it, forgive me for looking down, I'm looking at my notes that I forgot to bring with me in my very disorganised manner this morning when I was filming in the car. So the second half of the video is about what I like to do on a weekend to make my week, set my week off on the right foot, feeling organised and on top of things. That quite often by Wednesday, I'm not any more organised and on top of things. This is not, you know, a foolproof plan. These are the things that I like to do in an ideal world, and when I have a quieter weekend, I'd get more of them done. When I have a busy weekend, I get less of them done. So it's sort of a ideal world scenario, this, but so far this year I've been pretty good. We haven't had loads on at the weekend, so I have been able to get all these things done, and this is what I feel gives me a good start to the week, a productive start to the week. So this bit of hair should be more up there. I can't do anything with it. Don't know, it looks a bit odd. Anyway, I digress. Actually, I need some lip salve now. Let's use this one. So the first thing that I like to do is prepare my pills and supplements for the week. And although that sounds like a really tiny little thing, I have a little basket on my kitchen windowsill with one of those pill holders with the days of the week on it. So I take 2 supplements every day, a turmeric supplement and a glucosamine type. Actually, it's not glucosamine anymore. I just take the MSM, I think it's called. Anyway, whatever, it's for my joints. So I take those 2 supplements and a blood pressure pill every day, and I like to just pop those into the pill holder for the week with the days of the week on, so I know then when I've taken it or not. I find it very difficult to get into a routine of taking my pills at the same time every day, so it's all a bit hit and miss. So that container with the days of the week on is just an absolute godsend for me. Then at least I know, because quite frankly, when it gets to dinner time, I can't remember what I've done at breakfast time, whether I've taken the pill or not. It's a side effect of a busy life, I guess. So that's one thing that I try and always do on a Sunday. The next thing is to sit down and have a look at my diary for the week. I showed you my diary this morning, or earlier on in the video, less than 5 minutes ago, in fact, for you guys. I'm on a slightly different time scheme to the actual video here. Very distracted today. So I look at my diary, I look at my appointments for the week, I sort of plan, and then inside my head, I don't tend to write this down, I give myself a little plan with which 3 days are going to be my eBay days that week, when I'm going to plan what videos I'm going to do, and when I'm going to film those, and where I've got some time to edit them. So I just, as I said, it's a very casual arrangement, this. I just look at what's happening that week, and I figure out in my head how things are going to go. So I've got an idea inside my head of what I need to do for the week. I also, if we've got any social engagements that week coming up, I will tend to email Ashley. Usually he will know already, but I'll send him an email just as a reminder if we're going out the coming weekend or something, just to remind him. Yeah, just a email reminder for those sorts of things. The other thing I like to do, which is an absolute game changer for me, if I can get it done at the weekend, is a meal plan for the week ahead and an online shop to arrive on Monday morning first thing. That is always a really good thing. I love to have my meals planned for the week. When I don't have that, I find that I spend a lot of time thinking about what we're going to eat, wondering what we've got, looking at the fridge, going to the supermarket, all of those things. And if I've got a plan in my head, if I've got my recipes ready for the week, it just makes such a difference to how my week goes. If you would like me to do, I'm not going to talk too much in this video about how I go about meal planning, but if you'd like me to do a video separately on how I do my weekly meal planning, let me know and in the comments, and I will do that. I'll talk more about it. I have got a dinner ideas video coming up shortly, so that will be, I can't remember exactly when that's going to be, but that will be coming out in the next week or so. Another thing that I like to do on a weekend is switch up my makeup. In fact, I can show you. I'm sitting in my area where I do my makeup, and I like to switch to using different makeup every week, just to rotate what I've got. I've got quite a large collection of makeup, bit of a side effect of doing YouTube and the fact that I love makeup. So I like to switch it up on a Sunday and perhaps get a new eye palette out for the week and a couple of lipsticks and change my blusher, perhaps a different foundation. I don't do that every week, but I try and do it at least once every couple of weeks, just so I don't end up in the rut of just using the same things all the time. I do like to change it up. I enjoy my little 15 minutes that I have in the morning doing my makeup. It's part of my daily routine when I watch a YouTube video and sit and enjoy playing with my makeup collection, I guess you'd say. So that's something I do. Also on Sunday I like to wash my makeup brushes, and on that note I must mention to you, I can't show you because you're on it, I'll mention it in another video, but yeah, I always clean my makeup brushes on a Sunday as well. Again, not every Sunday because I do clean them in between uses, but a proper full-on hot water and soap clean is always on a Sunday. When I get round to doing it, it's generally perhaps once a month, something like that. Well, not as often as it should be. But yeah, I hate cleaning my makeup brushes. It's not a good job, but it's always a nice feeling when they're done. Another thing that I quite like to get done on a Sunday, although it's not the end of the world if I don't get it done, I just feel a bit more on top of my week, is get the beds changed and do any laundry. If I've got a lot of laundry piled up, I will make a start on that on a Sunday and get that done rather than having to wade through that in the week. So that's another thing that I like to get done over the weekend if I can. And then the final thing that I very often do on a Sunday is, in fact it's not the final thing because it's generally the first thing I do before all the other things that I've just talked about, but it's a big brain dump. If I feel like I've got a lot on, if I've looked at my diary and there's a lot coming up and I've got things in my head about I need to buy that birthday present, or I need to book that restaurant, or I need to message friends to see if they want to get together, or all of those things that you need to do. I must phone my mum and ask her about such and such. All of those little things, must make an appointment with the dental hygienist. When those things are all circulating around my head, I tend to feel a bit out of control. So I do a big brain dump of all the things inside my head, perhaps that's stuff that I need to buy, perhaps something I've run out of that I haven't put on the shopping list, and just put it all onto a bit of paper. I like to do that on paper. I have tried doing a brain dump onto my phone, but it's not quite the same. I'm very much a pen and paper girl. Get it all onto piece of paper or a notebook, and it just makes me feel better, and then I can look at the list of things that need to do, add it into my daily to-do lists, or pop it into my diary, or make the calls, or figure out when I'm going to do the things. It just makes me feel more organised. So that is again something that I do, and that one doesn't have to be at a weekend. I quite often do a brain dump midweek if I'm feeling like things are getting away from me, or there's a lot that I need to be thinking about. I will quite often just sit down with a pen and paper and get it all out on the paper. With YouTube, I like to get my videos filmed. I like to work a week ahead. That's not happening at the moment. I was doing quite well until I went to Southampton with my mum, and then the rest of that week that turned out into not a great week in terms of getting things done. So I'm very much filming, editing, uploading just a couple of days before. which I find more stressful than being more organised and getting it done in advance. So I'll be playing catch up to do that. But with YouTube, I like to have a plan of what I'm going to record and when I'm going to do it. So very much, and there's a lot of steps in the process as well. So sometimes I like to dump all that out onto paper as well, just so I can get my head around what I'm filming and when I'm filming it and all of that other stuff, and doing the thumbnails. And it's quite a lot of work actually producing 3 videos a week or 2 videos a week. So I think that's it. That sort of gives you a bit of an idea of how I keep on top of things and how I stay organised. If you've got any top organisation tips or anything you do that you feel helps your week start well, or anything like that, do let me know in the comments. Does anybody plan their, and this is an interesting one, does anybody plan their outfits for the week in advance? Because that's something that I've thought about doing. But I've never actually done. I watched a YouTube video a couple of years ago where somebody was advocating doing that, and I kind of quite like to do that because I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to wear, or alternatively not spending enough time and wearing the same things all the time when I've got 3 wardrobes of things that need to be worn. So does anybody do that? I'd be quite interested to know, planning in advance with outfits. Perhaps I should do. Some people do a week. The particular person I'm talking about did a week's worth of planning of outfits in advance. But anyway, I digress. That's another subject. Let me know in the comments any organisation thoughts you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.